Warning signals are coming from the United States of America. At least, that's what the Politico publication says. It emphasizes that Trump is speculating on how much Ukrainian territory Russia can keep for itself. In fact, this is what the Politico publication cites as its source. According to two national security experts associated with presumptive U.S. Republican presidential candidate Donald Trump, he is considering how much Ukrainian territory Moscow can keep for itself. According to the article, Trump is considering a deal under which NATO would not expand eastward, particularly into Ukraine and Georgia, and is negotiating with Putin on how much Ukrainian territory Moscow can keep. In addition, the article says that Trump not only expects European countries to dramatically increase their spending on NATO when he becomes president, a major claim he made when he was president, but also to do what one defense expert familiar with the thinking among Trump's national security advisors, Dan Caldwell, describes as a radical reorientation of NATO. Let's quote. According to interviews with former Trump national security officials and defense experts who are likely to serve in Trump's second term, Trump is unlikely to leave NATO immediately. But even if he does not officially leave the organization, this does not mean that NATO will survive Trump's second term unchanged. Well, actually, NATO also reacted to the possible arrival of Trump, and what they came up with. We will also mention this. And now we are going to talk to our guest, Valery Klachok, the head of the Tower Center for Public Analysis. Mr. Valery, welcome to our broadcast. Glory to Ukraine.
Glory to the heroes. Hello, friends.
We will mention Trump, but first of all, I would like to mention Orban, who, let me remind you, began presiding over the European Union on July 1st, and on July 2nd Orban was in Kiev. If I'm not mistaken, Orban visited Kiev only during Yanukovych's presidency. He did not come under other presidents. Is this a formal visit, as the country that led the European Union for 6 months? Or perhaps, under this cover, Orban came to promote some messages from Moscow?
I think the latter. And I am convinced of this. Because yesterday, during the meeting between Zelensky and Orban, which did not last long, Orban did not stay in Kiev, as far as I know. He hurried back. Perhaps he is already going to the motherland or to Brussels to perform some duties directly. He is going to do something sensible. Sorry for such sarcasm. The fact is that during the meeting between Zelensky and Orban, Shijardo had a telephone conversation with Lavrov. I am more than convinced that Orban was simply consulted online on what to do. And his arrival in Kiev is really not about Orban as such, because pay attention to how loyal he was. He opens a Ukrainian school in Hungary, is ready to finance, and does not put forward any specific requirements. And at the very end, in the end, such a cherry on the cake is given out regarding the ceasefire. Therefore, I have absolutely no doubts about the purpose of Orban's visit. He is now taking advantage of the fortunate situation in Europe. He does not need any allies and partners there. He is interested in the issue of cheap energy resources, access to cheap finance, free most of all. This is now meant by aid from Europe. He is interested in working with everyone, everywhere to solve his current problems in Hungary. He managed to form a very broad electoral support. Since 2010, he has allegedly headed the majority in parliament and has his majority in the Hungarian parliament. Therefore, Orban, as he believes, and so it is possible to say so, everything is very good. And his visit to Kyiv is 100% not his own initiative. He would like to stay away for 300 years and continue to blackmail everyone and everything. But he has certain obligations from his, I don't know what to call them, patrons, not patrons, but a kind of allies in foreign policy. This includes Putin, of course, but also the European Union. Because the European Union is putting pressure on him, and today he has to demonstrate some kind of loyalty to Ukraine for the European Union. He is very good at signing off on all the reports that are circulating in the media about leaks of some plans, both Russian and traumatic, and so on, to end the war. That is why I am convinced once again that he played the role of a shuttle diplomat. A shuttle diplomat who brought proposals from the Kremlin on how the Kremlin sees the end of the war to Kyiv. Just as they take their proposals to the United States of America, to other countries, they may differ from each other there. I cannot know for sure, but what the press writes about is that there are indeed very, very strange developments now in terms of preparations for possible negotiations, which are likely to take place in the format of a peace summit, the second peace summit, which Zelensky announced just a few days ago, and has already made many statements. Therefore, Orban came, of course, definitely not on his own initiative.